Greetings, YouTube universe. Jerry with IMO, in my opinion, and together we get to explore the wonderful world of audio and video. On to this week's video. This week, we're going to trepidatiously traverse the dark cave of analog versus digital, where the proliferation of nasty comments vehemently lies waiting in the shadows to nefariously attack the unsuspecting who dare disagree with their preference from the safety of their keyboards. Don't be afraid, I'm here to guide you through this monstrous debacle. Well, the analog versus digital war has been raging for many a year, and that's kind of a shame because this is supposed to be a fun hobby. Both formats have their pros and cons, and I think that's an important thing to discuss, and that's what I'll be doing in this video. I'm going to go ahead and start with analog, and a lot of the pros and cons are some of my opinion, my experience having both, and some are actual real fact. It'll be pretty obvious as we get through this. So first of all, with analog records, I have quite a collection, maybe about 900, not as many as some, but I personally prefer the sound of vinyl. I think it's a fuller sound. I think there's more depth to it. It sounds more like it was recorded. Now, keep in mind, this is stuff that was recorded on tape originally, and then, of course, transferred over to records. Things originally recorded in digital don't apply here. You gain more of a physical connection. You actually get to pull open an album. I'll show you here. Here's Stevie Wonder, Inner Visions. I've got this wrapped up. You got a nice big gatefold. You can see everything about it. There's something in handling a record that is nice. Just like, oh, I got to be careful. Let's not touch the edges. Let's hold it like this. I love that kind of stuff. That's, you know, kind of a sickness, you could say. So I think that's a big advantage to records. I'll just put this here. You also get quality time. You get to sit down, listen to every track, and enjoy the music. You do have to sit down and take the time to do it. I think it's a more faithful reproduction of the music. It is as it was recorded. You get a continuous sound. It's one song after another. And with a good system, I believe you hear the nuances a little bit better than you would in digital. And it's actually pretty cool now. It's the new cool thing. Let's get records. Although that's what I was raised on in the 60s and 70s. And the other positive attribute about analog is actually going shopping, going record shopping. I love record shopping. You go to a store, you know, you just never know what you're going to find. It is time consuming, but it's just kind of a nice outing. Go grab some lunch, go look for records, and oh, I didn't even think about that record. I remember that one, and you take it home, you clean it up and play it and enjoy it. So those are the positive attributes about analog. Now on to the cons, the negative attributes, and that is cleaning. Oh my gosh, I got like about 900 records. Every one of those had to be cleaned. I use a spin clean record cleaner, and it works very good. You can get more expensive cleaners, but I don't have that kind of money. The other thing is storing. Storing records can be a real pain in the neck. If you look right down, oh, there it is, right down around there, you can see some of my records stored. They do take up a lot of space. Equipment maintenance. You have to maintain your turntable. I have 3 turntables. They all require different styluses, so you have to maintain those. You have to make sure they're in good order. You don't want to ruin the records with a bad stylus. You have record brushes. You have destaticizer, something to take the static off records when that happens. Buying special inserts to put the records in. There's a lot to record maintenance, and if that's not something you want to do, then it may not be a hobby for you. You also have to deal with the occasional pops and clicks. A lot of the records I have are free from that, but sometimes there is a pop and click. If that's going to bother you, then again, this is not the hobby for you. The other negative attribute, again, is part of the storage. You have to make sure they don't get in the sun. Records can warp. You do not want a warped record. Chances are it won't play right unless it's maybe just a slight warp. It's also stationary. You can't put a turntable in your car. You can't put a turntable on your back and go walking around or driving around listening to records. Just ain't going to happen. And if you're not careful in buying your records, some records have surface noise. So you try to listen to a record and it has surface noise. I don't have many that have that, but I have had some, and you either keep them and deal with it or you throw it out. The other thing to think about too is wear and tear. If you don't maintain it properly, records will wear out. Now, I've purchased some used records from the 60s, and they sound perfectly fine because obviously the prior owner maintained them. Surprisingly, I bought many records from Goodwill for 99 cents to $1.99 that are from the 70s and 80s, and they play like they're brand new. So don't be afraid of buying old records. Now on to digital. So one of the biggest pros for digital is storage. You just store them online, or if you use Apple Play or Spotify or whatever service you use, they're nowhere. They're just there. And that's kind of cool too. Accessibility. Again, with vinyl, you sit down, you pretty much have to listen to the whole record. With digital, you can create a playlist. You can go back and forth. You can create playlists with analog. It's called a cassette tape, and you have to sit there and record each song over and over again or on a reel-to-reel. Portability. Obviously, you can carry digital music in your car. I use Apple Music. I have Apple CarPlay in my car, and I just plug it in there and I drive down the road and I'm good to go. And it doesn't wear out. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, is my stylus going to run out, or wear out, anything like that. You just play the music and it lasts forever, not a problem. Some of the negatives of digital, it's a sample only. If you look at these waveforms, I'll show you this is an analog waveform, and that represents the entire spectrum, the entire song. The next picture is actually showing that analog or digital is a sample, and it's 44,100 samples per second. So you're not getting all the music. Can you hear the difference? Well, that's why, in my opinion, vinyl sounds a little smoother. It's a little fuller sound. Digital music can have more of a flat sound. It's not as full. It's not as dimensional as analog sound. And in a lot of CDs, there's a lot of heavy compression. They compress the music so softer passages are as loud as the loud passages, so you have no dynamics. It's just there. Whereas with vinyl, you get the ups and downs, the lower volumes, the higher volumes, especially in classical music. Then with CDs and digital music, you have the loudness wars. How loud can we make this? Can we make this louder than our competitors so people can, blast their eardrums out? I like my music still loud, but I like it, I like the dynamics as well. And as mentioned, digital is a sampling, so you do kind of lose some of the detail that would normally be in your vinyl records. And a lot of people are like, well, no, digital is clearer, you got more high-end and everything. Not on my system. I have a very good system. My turntable and cartridges really reproduce the high-end perfectly fine. The low-end is perfectly fine. So they both reproduce that. The other thing with digital is you can order it online. You simply download it. You can go to your Apple Music, whatever format you use, and you just click what you want, and there you are. Now, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about this, but in each format, either analog or digital, there's actually different formats of that. For records in particular, you have your standard pressings, you have your half-speed masters, you have direct-to-discs, you have 140, 180, and 200 gram record pressings. With digital, of course, you have your CD, your SACDs, your DVD audios, your Blu-ray audios, FLAC, which is free lossless audio codec, and those are all the different formats. There are other ones out there, I'm sure, but those are the different formats, and some sound better than others. In particular, half-speed masters and direct-to-discs and the 180, 140, and 100 and 200 gram records, they do have a little better clarity, they're pressed better, and they're produced a little bit better. With the CD, the SACDs and DVD audios, of which I have about 50 between the two of them, they do sound better. They're a higher sampled rate. And the FLAC, free lossless audio codec, is basically a compressed CD, and when it plays back, it uncompresses it and puts it back in regular CD. So the question I have here is, when does a CD sound better than vinyl? Well, I'll tell you. I was at a record store, it was quite some time ago, and I found a recording of Little Milton's greatest hits. He's a blues artist, and it was 40 or 50 bucks for it. Well, I can buy that online, as you can see here, for that amount, and in my opinion, that's going to sound better than a record, because I'm not paying you 40 to 50 bucks for a record. I have some records I've purchased that I've paid $20 to $35, but those would all be half-speed masters or direct-to-disc records or 180 or 200 gram records. I have several SACDs and DVD audios, which I bought when that format war came out. So in summary, It really boils down to personal opinion. I listen to both. I enjoy both. I prefer the sound of vinyl, but that's just me. Get what you like. Here's the pros and cons we discussed. You know all about that now, so make your own decision as to what you would like to do. All right, thank you for watching, and you have a wonderful day. Oh, Prince, what did you think? I can't even entertain a dog. All right, post your comments down in the comments below. Tell me what you think. Do you like digital? Do you like analog? Do you like both? What's your opinion? Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.